going to call the meeting of the Oskaloosa City Council to order. Today is July 21st, 2014. Let's start with the invocation. Pastor Dave Lorraine, New Hope Free Methodist Church.
Thank you, Mayor. Our gracious Father, we just pause to thank you for the opportunity to meet together and to do the business of this city. Lord, I ask that you will give us unity in how we conduct ourselves, wisdom in the decisions made. And God, we just thank you that you've loved us in a way that we can do this job and do this well. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Charlie, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Caligari.
Here.
Jimenez.
Here.
Moore.
Here.
Van Zetten. Versteg.
Here.
Walling.
Here.
Yates.
Here.
Thank you. I understand Councilman Van Zetten is at a meeting of the Water Board and will be joining us as soon as he can make it. Next item on the agenda is to receive comments from the community for concerns whether or not they're included on the agenda. The community is encouraged to come and speak before the mayor and city council, asked to keep statements brief. Time would be limited to no more than 3 minutes. Any questions are to be asked of the city staff, council members, or the mayor prior to speaking to the full council, so concerns can be properly researched and perhaps even answered away from the meeting. Comments are to be directed to the mayor and city council only. Is there anyone who would care to speak at this time? Seeing none, I'll move on. Item number 5 is the consent agenda. These are all items that are routine in nature. Things that board minutes, renewal of liquor licenses. However, I did want to draw your attention that there is a resolution scheduling a public hearing, vacation and sale of a north-south alley adjacent to 211 North J Street, a public hearing on vacation and sale of a north-south alley adjacent to 1210 A Avenue East, and then also a resolution for the preliminary approval of plan specifications, form of contract, estimated cost regarding the South 11th Street pavement rehabilitation project. We have a motion supporting the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
On items E and F, I was going to pull them, and I thought, oh, I'm going to hear all these moans. It's just for the public hearing, but all I'm asking is, look at those real hard. I was at that meeting, and I think they're telling people, I'm not sure it's going the right way, so please look at it, all I'm saying.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Yates.
Yes.
Caligari.
Yes.
Jimenez.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Versteg.
Yes.
Walling.
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Okay, on to item 6A. Representative from Mahaska Community Recreation Foundation is here to give us a quarterly report on activities. Let's see. Sherry Vavra.
Hi guys, how's everybody?
Good.
Happy birthday, Doug.
Thank you.
Ooh.
Old. Oh, man.
How old are you?
Didn't know about it. Yeah. Too old, Scotty. Too old.
Okay guys, just we have put it down to one page as was pointed out to me, but we will still give an annual report with several pages. So this kind of better defines what we're doing there. You can look at the categories and it shows participation. Our participation this summer has been insane, if you've been out there. We've had tournaments from every direction, which, you know, is a good thing. And we did have, Oskaloosa High School has 600 people about that come to their tournaments. We have over 2,000 kids have participated locally, and we bring in about that many as well from outside playing these tournaments and such. So lots of participation. As far as recreation, we've also had track. We've had track meets there. Youth soccer has played their season. The trail tram tours are going on the trail. Skate park is doing great. We did have the Statesmen have their relays there at the complex, and William Penn even had an alumni soccer game, so the old guys got out there to play with us. So community sport is still there. We have one good thing that the MHP partnered with us this year is they actually held a fundraiser and got 2 AED machines for us. They purchased and donated. So they've got one now at the Fiveplex and one at the stadium. So that'll be helpful coming in the seasons.
What does AED stand for?
It is in your report there. If you look, right there, under the news report. Automated external defibrillators. So if somebody has a heart attack, then the machine will do its job, hopefully, and it'll be faster than, getting somebody. So we were real happy with that. They also came out and did a training for us to show us what to do. So that was really great for a partnership with the hospital. Then lots of runs are still going, lots of community. You guys have that in front of you so you can see the support there. The developmental projects, if you've been out there to see, the stadium is moving in stages. We do fundraising, and we're still doing fundraising, and as funds are raised, we continue to build at the stadium. So it looks great. We're getting the press box built this year. Plan to have it before fall season. The first game being the Old Shoe game on August 22nd, so we're counting the days. The trail is going to extend through the Caldwell Park area. Some of you have seen that already. We've got a couple of bridges going over the springs that will go through there, and so it will connect up to the edge of University Park. So we're moving on to that area that we need trail connection. And then we have more events coming up. It doesn't slow down for us now because we have fall season too. So fall season is right around the corner. So what's coming up is, the drum corps is going to be there. There's lots of runs. Youth football will be, and regular football season will start. The Old Shoe game, as I said, is August 22nd, and then trail trams will still go on and on. Okay? Thanks about it.
Lots of stuff.
Questions? Yes, lots of stuff. Okay. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.
Moving to item B. Let's consider an ordinance amending Oskaloosa City Code Section 6.04.090. This is dangerous dogs and other dangerous animals, to delete the current section and substitute a revised section. This is the first reading. OSKI Ordinance 6.04.090 addresses the issue of dangerous dogs and other dangerous animals. The city manager has requested changes to the ordinance to clarify definitional terms, clarify requirements relative to dangerous animals, and modify the Animal Review Board's appeal language by removing the city manager and a council member from the board. It is proposed that the current section 6.04.090 be deleted and a new section 6.04.090 be substituted in. And then we've got the ordinance attached, which runs for several pages. To open the discussion, do we have a motion for approval?
So moved. Second.
Okay. Now, any discussion? Or any
Mayor, Council, we had a stretch where we had 2 or 3 of these animal requests come to the city, and the way that it works now is that the appeal process has to be handled within 3 days, and essentially we have to drop everything we're doing, schedule that as quickly as possible, get everybody in the room as required to be in the room under ordinance, hold the hearing, and from my perspective, it didn't seem to be very representative of an I don't know, not necessarily a fair process, but it could be improved. I typically run the meetings, and it's basically they're appealing to me, they're appealing to a council member, and to a member of the animal shelter. And it seemed like there could be an opportunity to maybe expand that board so that it was some more members of the public could be involved, and it's not necessarily me who's responsible for the police department being the one who makes the determination. We haven't had any problems with it as far as the way it's been run, at least from my perspective. We've been able to promptly issue determinations in the 2 or 3 cases that we've had within the past year and a half, 2 years. So it was an opportunity for us to look at that and make a change to it. I also think the code itself is a little redundant and unclear in certain areas, and specifically when it comes to the determination of a potentially dangerous animal and a dangerous animal, the existing code, which is not in your books. There was very little difference between the two, and so as a member of the appeals board, we often question, there really is no recourse. It turns out bad for the animal owner in both instances if you determine their animal to be potentially dangerous or to be dangerous. The penalties are essentially the same. I also thought it was a little strange that the code talked about things like if your animal appears to be vicious, it could be deemed that way. So if you have an animal that's behind a fence and it's jumping and barking, hey, it could be deemed potentially dangerous. There were just a number of items that needed to be reviewed, and so that's why I asked the city attorney and the chief of police to take a look at it, see what's out there in other communities, and then craft something that could work for us. And that's what's presented to you in its form today. There is one note that I would make is there's some minor revisions and they're just grammatical and numerical, some changes that needed to be made and didn't get uploaded into your packet. So this is there's a second version that's coming at the next meeting, but it doesn't change the substance of the document that you're looking at tonight.
As I read it twice, I mean, it doesn't really spell out any specific type of dog, just talk about dogs, right?
Correct.
It's my dog, no matter what, so I think it's good.
Yeah, it's animal, it's not a specific breed, we don't get into that, I wouldn't recommend that we get into that.
So does the code go to the degree of naming who would be on this committee, even like the size of the committee for appeal? I mean, I see where it says that it would be chaired by the chief of police, but that's about it.
Yeah, I think it calls for a 3 or 4 member board, 3 people, minimum of 3.
Okay.
So, a member of the public, an animal professional, and then a city officer or designee.
Okay. Okay, any other comments? You got a motion supporting this? Roll call, please.
Calgery.
Yes.
Jimenez.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Van Zetten.
Yes.
Versteg.
Yes.
Walling.
Yes.
Yates.
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Okay, moving on to item C. Consider an ordinance amending city code provisions in 10.48.030 that has to do with angle parking, and this is to allow angle parking on a portion of North K Street. It's the first reading. Public Works Department is requesting to update the current code to reflect the 1107 A Avenue West site plan and their on-street parking improvements along the east side of North K Street. Presently, there's a 50-foot-long gravel area on the east side of North K, adjacent to the Great Expectations restaurant, which serves as on-street parking. The proposed site improvements to 1107 A Avenue West indicate a plan to convert this gravel area into a concrete surface in order to accommodate 4 angled on-street parking spaces on North K Street. Staff is recommending that the City Council approve amending it. So do we have a motion supporting that? Okay, any discussion?
I'd just like to apologize. The order of this, it would have made more sense for us to have at least looked at the site plan first. So I
Yeah.
apologize that
Yeah.
wasn't ordered in a way that
Went and looked at it already.
makes sense. So that is on item F, in
Okay.
case anybody needs to refer.
Any other comments? Roll call, please.
Jimenez.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Van Zetten.
Yes.
Versteg.
Yes.
Walling.
Yes.
Yates.
Yes.
Calgery.
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Takes us to item D, considering an ordinance amending Chapter 15.04, the Building Code of Oskaloosa Municipal Code, and also a request to waive the third reading of the ordinance. Proposed service agreement with Safe Building Compliance and Technology requires 5 days for plan reviews and 48-hour notice for inspection services. The municipal code currently requires 24-hour notice for the inspection services, and therefore it's not in compliance with the contract terms of the safe building. Staff is requesting that the City Council consider amending the Oskaloosa Municipal Code 15.04.470 to be amended to reflect the change from 24 hours to 48 hours as noted below. And then it lists out the change where the building official may require that every request for inspection be filed at least 2 days before such inspection is desired. Such request may be in writing or by telephone at the option of the building official. So the City Council approved the first reading of the ordinance at the July 7, 2014 City Council meeting, but did not approve waiving the second and third readings of the ordinance by a vote of 5 yes to 1 no. In order for readings to be waived, 6 affirmative votes are required. And so staff is requesting the third reading of the ordinance amendment be waived so the code complies with the agreement with safe building compliance and technology. Do we have a motion supporting the amending of the code first?
Second.
You got a motion and a second? Okay. Then do we have a motion for waiving the rules on the third reading?
So moved. Second.
Okay. Comments? Okay. Hearing no comments, then let's see, the first vote is on the motion itself, right? And on the waiving the rules. Okay.
On what, waiving the third?
On waiving the third reading. Okay, roll call, please.
Moore,
Yes.
Van Zetten,
Yes.
Versteg,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Caligari,
Yes.
Jimenez.
Okay, that passes. And then the last has to do with the reading of the ordinance itself. Change. Roll call, please.
Van Zetten,
Yes.
Versteg,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Caligari.
Yes.
Jimenez. Moore.
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Item E, consider approval of the site plan for the property at 1107 A Avenue West. Darrell Fisher with Fisher Investments submitted a site plan for 1107 A Avenue West. The west portion of the site is presently occupied by a restaurant, Great Expectations. The east portion used to be the Happy Joe's Pizza Building. The site in consideration is .33 acres, and the present zoning of this property is Urban Corridor, which is a UC district, with the A Avenue Overlay District. Applicant has submitted the required site plan along with elevations and a landscape plan for review through the city staff. The site plan illustrates the existing building, 1,845 square feet, serving at Great Expectations Restaurant will remain, and the proposed building, 3,024 square feet, will serve office and retail land use. The proposed site will have one access entrance on A Avenue and an exit on North K Street. The proposed site indicates 16 off-street parking spaces, including one handicap accessible space, 4 on-street angle parking spaces. The site also indicates a 5-foot wide sidewalk on A Avenue West and on North K Street. Proposed site will be connecting to existing sanitary sewer and water utilities. And so staff is recommending approval of the site plan with the following stipulations. 1 being the Iowa DOT approval. 2, providing landscaping along the property according to the Oski Municipal Code 17.26. And last, the main entrance door to the existing restaurant, Great Expectations, needs to be the same level as the entrance sidewalk in order to comply with ADA regulations. At their meeting on July 14 of 2014, Planning and Zoning Commission, by a vote of 7-0, recommended approval of the site plan with the above-mentioned stipulations. Do we have a motion supporting this site plan?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
The checkered shows he's on the alley. And at the meeting, that alley is still open, correct? And he's not asking to close it as of yet, right?
Right. The north-south is still public alley.
Yes.
The east-west is the one that's already vacated.
Okay, now, I'm just questioning, on both of my pages, that alley is shown in color like it's part of his project.
We're talking about this particular road.
The north-south alley that's between Darrell and the car wash, right?
That's
But it is not. That alley is still open.
right.
Okay.
But it will be paved.
But he will be paving.
Half of it will be paved, and they also agreed to pave the
Okay,
north
there's
side.
the answer. Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Roll call, please.
Versteg,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Caligari.
Yes.
Jimenez.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Van Zetten.
Yes.
Okay, it passes. Item F is consider a motion rescinding action taken at the May 5th, 2014 City Council meeting regarding the acquisition and demolition of the property located at 517 B Avenue West. The property located there was condemned by the city due to unsafe living conditions. All residents were ordered out of the property and the building secured until required improvements could be corrected. The property owner, Mr. Kelly Blunt, approached the city and offered to deed the property over to the city free and clear of any liens. At the May 5th, 2014 City Council meeting, staff asked the council's input on acquiring the property at no cost from Mr. Blunt with the intent of pursuing demolition of the building as soon as practical, with the understanding the city would be responsible for demolition cost as well as any property maintenance that would need to occur thereafter. Staff had recommended the building at 517 B Avenue West be demolished regardless of ownership. The City Council, with 4 yeses and 3 nos, directed the city manager to execute the necessary documents for acquisition and demolition of 517 B Avenue West, also known as the Star Realty Building. The city manager is requesting the City Council reconsider their previous motion and rescind the direction approved to acquire the property. City manager recommends the funds be set aside for property acquisition and diverted to other needs within the city's operational budget, or be held to increase existing reserve levels. The city manager is also recommending the property owner be held responsible for bringing 517 B Avenue West into code compliance or seek demolition of the property within a reasonable period of time. So do we have a motion supporting this rescinding of action?
So moved. Second.
Okay, any discussion?
The reason the time.
Mayor, Council, I would suggest that Mr. Blunt be given the time that's necessary as we would give any other property. So if we've observed a violation, he needs to work towards having it reasonably removed and demolished. So can't give you a specific date. I mean, Dave, we typically work through these, and it takes...
Typically, we do, and it
Takes time.
depends, because in truth, the options that would be afforded would be, number one, solve the problem, or number two, go ahead and demolish the building. Typically, on something like that, I would think you would be looking at, ideally, a time frame 90 to 120 days, something like that.
So if we put something in writing to him, give him a time frame to do something with the property, is that the intention?
That's typically, right, what we do. Go ahead and get a notice served saying, hey, the city perceives all these issues and problems with your building. You've got so long to get this, either the situation remedied or else demolish the building.
Now, I do need to make sure everybody understands that we were in that circumstance. We were working through that. He had received violation notices, and this was an option that he presented to us to solve, to remedy that. So we've already been in conversation with this property owner about resolving matters. So it's not, this is just a different course of action that I would recommend that you at least consider.
But we should have something out there, you know, informing him, you got this much time to do something with this property.
Yeah, certainly.
But I understand your point about that.
Public Works, the building official at that time gave him about 30 to 60 days notice previously. So he was given notice.
And that is true, although I'm not sure we should fall back too much on the deadline, because in all fairness, he can say, wait a minute, I thought we had something agreed whereby the city was going to be taking title, and hence I've not been going out and doing anything to try to get anything accomplished, which, I mean, I can certainly understand factually.
Correct.
Right.
What brought this on? We don't have city inspections, do we, on buildings like this, or do we? Rental buildings.
What brought what on? The original violation?
When was the building condemned, and what brought the city in to inspect the building in the first place?
We didn't necessarily go inside originally. There had been there had been multiple violation notices given to this property owner. And the first was the exterior of the building. The staircase, if I recall correctly, was noted as unsafe. They were given an opportunity to correct that. There were some attempts made at correcting that, but it wasn't sufficient.
Right.
Then there were additional items that were noted as additional inspections occurred, which made the property unsafe with the stairs internally as well, I believe.
Aaron, as I understand too, I think that's correct. I think initially it was observed the outside stairway, that one to the north, had some issues with it. There were some notices sent out on that, and as Mike has said, some steps attempted to be taken to try to deal with that problem. As I recall, I think it was Dave that was dealing with this, and he'd gone out to look at the property again, and some of the tenants living there had invited him in to look at their apartments, which I think is where the city ended up inside and having a chance to see some of these issues in a little more depth.
Do we need to bring back rental inspection. Again, bring that back up.
Council knows my position on that issue.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions? Roll call, please.
Walling?
Yes.
Yates?
Yes.
Calgery?
Yes.
Jimenez?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Van Zetten?
Yes.
Versteeg?
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Item G is to consider a resolution setting dates of a consultation and public hearing on proposed amendment number 1 to the Oskaloosa amended and restated urban renewal plan in the city of Oskaloosa, state of Iowa. The Oskaloosa urban renewal plan for the area was originally adopted in 1978, then amended in 1980, 1983, 1989, 1992, 3 times, 1995, 96, 99, and again in 2001. The urban renewal plan is now being amended and restated and will be known as the Oskaloosa amended and restated urban renewal plan for the Oskaloosa urban renewal area. That's original. Objectives of this amendment number 1 to the amended and restated urban renewal plan include, number 1, confirming the objectives and type of urban renewal projects that may be undertaken by the city. Number 2, confirming the list of proposed projects to be undertaken within the urban renewal area. 3, adding land to the urban renewal area. The land being added by this amendment is primarily undeveloped agricultural property located adjacent to Highway 23. This land is zoned general industrial, and the area has potential to be developed as an industrial corridor. The land added is designated as Amendment Number 1 to the amended and restated urban renewal plan. Number 4, reaffirming all the legal descriptions from previous amendments to the urban renewal area. And number 5, removing self-imposed voluntary expiration dates and clarifying the time frame that the area will remain in full force and effect. A consultation on the proposed amendment number 1 to the Oskaloosa amended and restated urban renewal plan is required by section 403.5 sub 2 of the Code of Iowa as amended and shall be held on the 28th day of July 2014 in the city manager's office, City Hall, 220 South Market Street in Oskaloosa, Iowa at 10 o'clock a.m. and the city manager or his delegate is hereby appointed to serve as the designated representative of the city for purposes of conducting the consultation, receiving any recommendations to be made with respect thereto, and responding to the same in accordance with section 403.52. If this item is approved as presented, a public hearing shall be held on the proposed amendment number 1 to the Oskaloosa amended and restated urban renewal plan before the City Council at its meeting, which commences at 6 o'clock p.m. on August 18 of 2014 in the City Council chambers of City Hall, 220 South Market Street in Oskaloosa, Iowa. Specific information regarding amendment number 1, including an explanation of the history, purpose, description, project objectives, types of renewal activities, proposed urban renewal projects, financial information, development plan, public building analysis, agreement to include agricultural land, urban renewal financing, property acquisition, disposition, development agreements, urban renewal plan amendments, effective period, repealer, and severability clause can be found specifically within pages 2-15 of the amendment number 1 to the Oskaloosa amended and restated urban renewal plan for the Oskaloosa urban renewal area document included in this item. That's all one sentence. Unbelievable. Who writes this stuff? So, do we have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Thank you. I don't suppose we can waive the rules on this, so I don't have to read it again. Comments? Roll call.
Yates?
Yes.
Calgery?
Yes.
Jimenez?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Van Zetten?
Yes.
Versteeg?
Yes.
Walling?
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Thank you. Okay, takes us to item 7. Reports from city staff. City manager, anything having to do with policy options on property tax reform, etc.?
Mayor and Council, thank you. I scheduled this item, at least the inclusion of this item tonight, just to provide an opportunity for me and for you to discuss what was the focus of the study session last Tuesday night. And during my weekly update to all of you, I ended up writing one up. That did not necessarily get included within the packet, but the short of it I came away with, I personally came away with about 6 items that were the takeaways. And the first was that property tax reform that the city's going to be facing is going to carry significant negative financial implications for the city's operations long term, regardless of any of the requests that we're receiving from the shelter, YMCA, Forest Cemetery, or any other organization. Second takeaway was that the franchise fee is a decent option to consider raising by 2% across all sectors of customers to help with long-term property tax reform impacts. The additional 2% can generate approximately $291,000 of funds annually. And the city already has a franchise fee that is charged for gas and electric, and that's 3% for residential, 3% for commercial, 1.5% for industrial customers. The third item was the current use of the franchise fee funds is for infrastructure. That was something that was decided by you as a group. It is my recommendation that building in more flexibility with those funds is essential. So I'm suggesting that we modify the revenue purpose statement to allow the funding of what's considered public safety, and also consider expanding it for economic development as well. And those are uses that are spelled out specifically within the Iowa Code. I believe there's E through I as allowable uses. So each letter has its own corresponding use that the legislature has granted us authority to approve. Number 4 was immediately implement cost reduction strategies that were included in the handout within the packet that immediately, in addition to considering revenue enhancements. So again, if the council is interested in trying to find a solution to the reduction in revenue, don't always look at the taxpayers, or in this case, the ratepayers, as the sole source for that. We also need to look internally before we do that. So that's why the number 4 is immediately implement those cost reduction strategies. And some of those items we're looking at part-time staff, across the board reductions in the budget process, A Avenue corridor, and reducing our liabilities there. And that's specifically why the item with 5-Star Realty was recommended and brought up tonight, is again trying to shed some of those liabilities or financial obligations that we could see. The 5th item was the YMCA's request for assistance is generally supported by the City Council. This does not mean that it's unanimous support on how, why, or how long the city will contribute to the YMCA. I think the idea that a $200,000 or thereabout, plus or minus contribution, could be enacted in the future here, but again, that would only be after the 2% additional increase in franchise fee occurs. And that isn't a process in of itself, which I've outlined to you, could occur, implementation could occur around November, as far as getting all the readings done, all the notifications handled. The council at that study session talked about the need to develop a long-term recreational needs assessment for the community. What is it that the council's investing the taxpayers' dollars for? What are we going to get as a result? How is the Y going to perform, or the future organization going to perform for the funding that they're receiving? The idea that a 28E agreement would be created to solidify that relationship is there was consensus to that. But again, performance-based is the way it should be structured. So if they complete milestones, then there would be a release of funds, almost like a drawdown on a construction loan. That's just an idea that was brought up to me by other council members. I think it's a good idea. So what I'm proposing is by September 15th, after the adoption of the franchise fees, that's when the 2080 agreement would be constructed, or at least considered by you. We'd be working on that up until that point. The 6th takeaway was that the future 1-cent local sales tax could be a viable funding source to help construct a recreation facility, wellness center, whatever you want to call it, that is anticipated to be needed and wanted by the community and taxpayers. We're not looking at committing the current penny. That's already committed. That's paying for roads purely, plain and simple. That's what our CIP includes. But the future 1 cent could be earmarked, a portion of it could be earmarked for a recreational facility, or it could be the whole thing, just depends on what you as a group want to decide. Obviously, that needs to occur, a decision on whether or not that's going to go to the voters. I think there's been consensus that the penny needs to be extended, but what does it include? How soon do we get that out to the voters? That hasn't been decided. The current penny expires December 31st of 2016, so it needs to obviously be before then. I have not put a date for that as far as when that would occur, but I'm going to be looking to the City Council and Finance Committee to help me out with that, if that's the direction that we're looking to go. So those were the 6 takeaways in summary. Obviously, there's more detailed information that I have, but didn't want to spend too much time. The idea is tonight just to inform the public on what was discussed, and since we had essentially no one there from the public, I thought it'd be a good idea to share it out.
Thank you, Mike. Anything else?
That was it.
Okay. City Clerk?
No, sir.
City Attorney, anything?
Nothing.
Thank you.
Okay. That takes us to City Council members. Start with you, Joe. Anything you care to talk about? Aaron? Scotty? Tom? No. Okay. Doug? Tom? Jason?
Apologize for being late. I had a water board meeting, so.
Yep. Understood. So, okay. I didn't have anything else to add. Do we have a motion for adjournment? Okay. All in favor say aye. We're adjourned.
All sorts of happy news there.